So here's why you never believe anything that Israel ever says. Why? Because always they're lying. There are no bigger criminal, psychopathic liars in the world than Zionists. And this guy is going to let you know, after murdering Anas al-Sharif and 4 other Al Jazeera journalists in a strike on their tent, Israel claimed Gaza's most prominent journalist of the past 22 months was also moonlighting as a Hamas fighter. So this guy, Mohammed Shihad, shows exactly how much value Israel claims have. So this is why you never believe anything your government ever tells you, and certainly nothing the Israel government says. Listen to this litany of lies that they've lied.
One thing that you need to keep in mind is Israel has been lying incessantly since the beginning of the genocide. It's been the cornerstone of Israel's genocidal campaign to lie every single day about everything possible and to come up with the most lunatic lies possible, imaginable. Israel lied about massacring the ambulance workers in Rafah. They lied about the GHF massacres. They lied about the Shifa hospital, the Flower massacre, the beheaded babies, Hamad hospital, Hind Rajab, the terror list at the Rantisi hospital that turned out to be a calendar, the World Central Kitchen workers, babies in ovens, white phosphorus, deliberately starving Gazans, Sinwar surrounding himself with 20 hostages in a tunnel, gassing hostages, the Ahli hospital, killing women and children with white flags, mass raping Palestinians, non-existent tunnels under graveyards, Nasser hospital, Hussam Abu Safiya, mass graves, snipers targeting kids in the hits, providing protection to criminal gangs that are looting aid systematically. Israel also lied about wiping out Gaza incrementally, gradually. They lied about refusing and collapsing the ceasefire, blowing up Gazans fleeing now south, blowing up and destroying Kamal Udwan hospital, claiming that dead Gazan children are fake plastic dolls, creating alleged safe zones that they push the people into and they bomb them once they get there. They lied about the general's plan. They lied about how many Hamas militants they killed, about the Red Crescent taking part in October 7th. That was another lie. They lied about how many journalists they've killed, and they lied about designating previous journalists as Hamas militants. They lied about Muhammad Abu Silmiya, the head of the Shifa hospital. They lied about the Indonesian hospital, about UNRWA, Al-Auda hospital, killing women sheltering at a church, bombing the church again, bombing another church, destroying every single university in Gaza, destroying the overwhelming majority of schools in Gaza, blowing up Gaza's Turkish cancer hospital, the sole cancer hospital in Gaza. They lied about Hamas hiding giant stockpiles of fuel in Rafah and Hamas looting aid. They lied about finding active smuggling tunnels in Rafah. They lied about hostages that would return pregnant. And they lied about who killed Yussi Sharabi, Itai Sivrisky, and other hostages as well that the IDF themselves killed. And after all these lies, Israel comes up and says, but trust us, our next lie will be 100% true. Trust us. You should attach as much value to Israel's allegations about Anas al-Sharif as you attach to the dust on the floor. Because without lies at this stage, without lies, Israel's narrative dies completely. It's the only way they can sustain the genocide.
Genocide. Noun. The systematic killing of substantial numbers of people on the basis of their ethnicity, religion, political beliefs, social status, or other particularities. Genocide. Verb. To commit genocide against, to eliminate, a group of people completely.
Okay, let me be very clear. There is a genocide going on in front of our very eyes. A live-streamed genocide on all of our phones. No one has the privilege to say we are not aware of what is happening. No one in the future will be able to say we did not know. Under international law, states have a legal obligation to act to prevent and to stop a genocide from happening. That means ending complicity, applying real pressure, and ending arms transfers. We are not seeing that. We are not even seeing the bare minimum from our governments.
And what I think I found particularly disturbing was that a bomb would drop maybe on a crowded, tented area, and then the drones would come down and...
Please take your time. We're incredibly grateful that you're making the time to be here today. So we do appreciate the time that you're making.
So the drones would come down and pick off civilians, children, and we had description after description. This is not, an occasional thing. This was day after day after day, operating on children who would say, I was lying on the ground after a bomb had dropped, and this quadcopter came down and hovered over me and shot me. And that's clearly a deliberate act, and it was a persistent act, persistent targeting of civilians day after day. We had 1 or 2 mass casualty incidents every day.
As to the origin of the present Jews in Palestine, he states that those Jews derived from Eastern Europe, and many of the Jews that today live in the reconstituted state of Israel come from Eastern Europe, are not descendants of the Judeans or the lost tribes of Israel, but rather descendants of the Khazars. Who are they? They were a nation most people do not even know of. He writes, the so-called self-styled Jews in Eastern Europe in modern history cannot legitimately point to a single ancient ancestor who ever set even a foot on the soil of Palestine in the era of Bible history. Research also revealed that the so-called or self-styled Jews in Eastern Europe were never Semites, are not Semites now, nor can they ever be regarded as Semites at any future time by any stretch of the imagination. What secret, mysterious power has been able for countless generations to keep the origin and the history of the Khazars and the Khazar kingdom out of the history textbooks? Did you ever learn about it at school? I never learned about it. And out of classroom courses in history throughout the world, the origin and the history of Khazars and the Khazar kingdom are certainly incontestable historical facts.
If I Must Die, by Rifat Alaria, November the 1st, 2023. If I must die, you must live to tell my story, to sell my things, to buy a piece of cloth and some strings. Make it white with a long tail, so that a child somewhere in Gaza, while looking heaven in the eye, awaiting his dad who left in a blaze and bid no one farewell, not even to his flesh, not even to himself, sees the kite, my kite you made, flying up above, and thinks for a moment an angel is there, bringing back love. If I must die, let it bring hope. Let it be a tale.
The samples in my mind were mainly corroborative. The reasons that I determined that these facilities were not or never could have been gas execution facilities are stated in my report. And it mainly is concerned with the design and fabrication of these facilities.
The requirements necessary in the design of a facility that contains a highly explosive and highly poisonous gas. You must have gasketed doors, no windows, means of getting the gas in, means of getting the gas out, something for heating the gas and the air to constantly keep the right temperature, explosion-proof switches, lighting facilities, etc. None of these ever existed. We're talking about brick and mortar buildings without heat, with non-explosion proof lighting, without gasketed doors, in some cases without doors at all, and with crematories that opened very close or adjacent to the facility. If these facilities were used for gas execution facilities, if those persons operating the facilities didn't gas themselves to death at the same time that the executees died, they certainly would have been blown to bits when the gas exploded from a spark arc in a switch, the heat of a light bulb, or the gas approaching and getting into the crematory furnace. I mean, it's just ludicrous to consider that these facilities could have been used as gas chambers.